Hello everyone, welcome to the Dad's Our Job podcast FPL show. Rob here. Thank you to everyone who downloaded the show last week. It was really popular and so I'm excited to get going again. But before I do, it's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham Hotspur, it's happened again. That's right, this past weekend, Arsenal were at the Toilet Bowl at 3 Point Lane, and once again, in a George Graham-esque performance, it was 1-0 to the Arsenal. It's our third away win against Spurs in the league in a row, and we have more wins against Tottenham at the Bowl than they do against us. We were depleted, we were in trouble, we were unsure, but we went there and we got the job done. Okay, enough of me plugging about that. We'll come to it for our big podcast on Thursday. But great result, 3 points, 10 from 4, couldn't be happier. Before I start, I want to stay true to form and give you a little bit of a family anecdote. And I feel like I need to take the gloves off. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I feel like I am living in a human version of Tom and Jerry. I feel like I am just running around, chasing my kids through life while they walk around in this dreamlike haze, and I am constantly trying to sort them out. This week, it's breakfast. Danny's downstairs trying to make his own breakfast, and I'm upstairs getting Alea dressed. By the time I come downstairs, his banana is next to the milk, unchopped. He likes to make a milkshake. And he is dancing to the theme song from Beetlejuice. And I'm just like, dude, we have to leave for school in a minute. And he's standing there in his pajamas looking at me like I've ruined his day. And I'm just thinking to myself, mate, you are making our lives harder right now. So I don't know if anyone else is feeling the same. I don't know whether he's testing his boundaries. But oh my word, breakfast has been rough this week. And we need to work it out. Otherwise, we are just going to get more and more down into this kind of Tom and Jerry way of living, and I am not for that. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated. I'd like to say I feel better now I've gotten that off my chest, but actually now I have to talk about this week's FPL review, and I'm not sure what's been worse, parenting my kids this week or FPL. So here it goes. I finished the week on 46 points overall, which is quite possibly my worst week for some time. However, it has been that way for many players, so that does soften the blow slightly. Fortunately, I captained Haaland and took 26 points from him, and Bruno finally returned with a 5-pointer because he assisted. I was not impressed with the yellow. Then there was no Pedro in the Brighton lineup, having played midweek for his international team and then came back and was unfit to play. So that was also incredibly frustrating because he's been in good form. And everyone else in my team were 1s and 2s. As the great Jamie O'Hara, and I say that with irony, would say, it was an absolute shambles, and I am really pleased to see the end of this week. I started the week at 2.1 million and I dropped 700,000 places to 2.8 million. And like I said at the beginning, it could have been worse, but everyone else has had a bad week too. So I haven't fallen as much as I could have done, but it is still a big fat red arrow. So I've got work to do this week. Let's talk about the league that matters, the Dad's Our Job FPL League. And just as a quick plug, if you'd like to join it, you can use the code PXWTLY. There's lots of teams on there and it's really good fun. I dropped from 6th to 9th. And I can kind of swallow that, I think, given the outcome of the week. I'm 50-ish points from the top, who just so happens to be Callum, who is having a blinder of a debut season at the moment. He had a really good game week, 70 plus points, I think. He had Haaland up front. He also had Watkins, and he also had Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who all returned, which really bumped him up the table and has put him very safely in first place. 50 points from Callum. I'm also 50 points above the bottom team, who is Adam, who is having an absolute nightmare. Things you love to see, but I am smack bang in the middle of that. So this just shows how close the league really is, because there is basically 100 points that separates top from bottom. It is early days, but 100 points, you only need one good week and you're back in the top three. But you also only need one bad week and you could drop well below mid-table. So there is still a lot to play for, and I'm still very confident that I will do well this season. But this hiccup of a 46-pointer, which was below the average, I must say, leaves me with a lot to think about, shall we say. So plans and strategy for this week. My original plan was to wildcard in game week 6. Now, game week 4 was so bad that Sunday night I nearly activated my chip because I was so frustrated. But I managed to put my phone down, not look at the app, and I didn't activate the wildcard. And I'm really pleased I didn't. There is a lot going on in my team though. I currently have Isak and Pedro who are flagged with injury. I was going to hold both of those players this week, so hopefully I won't need to sacrifice my transfer there. If I do, these are the current players I'm considering as my one game week punts ahead of the wildcard in game week 6. Vardy plays Everton, Welbeck plays Forest, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin plays Leicester. I'm interested in these players because they're relatively low owned. Vardy has 8.5% ownership, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has 3% ownership, and Welbeck is a little bit higher at 18%, I think. So they have good fixtures, and as one game week punts, they could offer me a nice differential, get some points on the board, and hopefully project me up the table. And when you look at people like Vardy, actually his fixtures aren't too bad going forward, so he might be worth buying and keeping anyway. If I don't need to make a transfer up front, then I'm probably going to go for the boring one again in defence. I'm really having trouble with my defence this year, and I can't quite find the right combination yet. I could put in an enabler because I'm sick and tired of looking at Munoz, who is blanking every week. He's creating chances but not taking them. So I don't trust the Palace defence. However, I am looking at Leif Davis as a 1 week punt to play this weekend against a very poor Southampton side. He has 2 returns in the last 2 game weeks, and he could be a good enabler going forward as well, actually. He's another one that could be kept and kept on the bench and brought in occasionally. So, to round that up, if my hand is forced and I need to make a change up front, I'm looking at Vardy, Welbeck or Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And if that isn't forced, then I will be looking at replacing Munoz with Leif Davis at Ipswich, which will save me about 0.5 million and will be handy to have going into the wildcard. So we'll see. For captaincy this week, I'm going to go a little bit rogue, and I think I've got to really. I've got to back my boys. They've been incredible this year defensively, so I expect them to keep their little run against Haaland going and limiting him to a 0.0 XG. So this week, I will not be captaining Haaland. I will be captaining Salah, who I think has a really good fixture, something really meaty, and I think that he could do really well. It's Bournemouth at home. Liverpool tend to be quite good at home. They're going to be hurting after losing at the weekend to Nottingham Forest. So King Mo will be the captain this week. Haaland will be vice captain, but I do not expect him to return because I think the boys will get the job done. Fingers crossed on that one. I did put a little thread out about questions this week, but I think FPL Threads is a little bit of a slow burner. It's great on there and the community is slowly building, but it is a bit of a slog. If you like to talk FPL, hit me up. My @ is RobHorton86. It would be great to see you on there, and I would follow back as well. but questions weren't very forthcoming. I did have Tabs from the Grove podcast drop me in with a little question though. The question was, and I think it was actually quite a thought-provoking question, the question was, what do we think of Tottenham? So I did lots of research into this and the history of the club, the last time they picked up a trophy, and their players' current performance as FPL assets, and I can confirm that the answer to that question is that Tottenham are shit. So thank you for that question, Tabs. Really good question, and I enjoyed researching it. And next week, maybe I can get some questions centred around FPL. But to finish, thank you for listening in. Remember to join our league. It's PXWTLY. It would be great to see you on there. Follow me on Threads at RobHorton86. And I look forward to seeing you next time. So thanks for listening, guys. Take care.